Welcome to the Salmon Archive.
Okay, hi everybody. This is Mr. Dormeyer, and I'm with members of the Sam Salmon staff, and we are filming our first podcast for the launch of our brand new website, thesamsalmon.com. Today's theme is Halloween, and we're going to start this podcast by talking about the best Halloween movies out there. I'm going to start by suggesting the original Halloween. I think it's the greatest Halloween movie ever made, not only for its title, but for the fact it launched the entire franchise that I love so much. Is there anybody who thinks there's a better movie than the original John Carpenter's Halloween?
I mean, if the Peanuts was still on TV this year, I would totally pick that.
It's interesting that Daniel mentioned Peanuts. Bella, what do you think about that?
Like Charlie Brown, the Great Pumpkin, like Charlie Brown Halloween, I think that they definitely, because Apple TV took them off. You can only watch them on Apple TV now. It's not on, regular television. And so, I feel like that is, like a tradition, that should still be around. And, shouldn't be taken from people.
I'm a little bit disappointed as well. I'm a little bit disappointed as well. I think that is a tradition. I'd still say the original Halloween movie is better than the Peanuts Halloween, but it should be watched every year by every kid in the country. Who wants to jump in on that? Andrew, go ahead.
I just want to ask, what are we talking about when we're saying what the best Halloween movie is? Are we talking about how scary it is, or just the overall appeal of the movie?
I'm going to change my answer, Andrew, and say the scariest movie for Halloween I've ever heard is the voice you were just making on your camera. That was wild. Try that again.
Yeah, I'm using voice mod. It's a modifier that changes my voice.
That sounds like demons have possessed your speakers.
It probably is, though.
Nick, what do you have to say about the best Halloween movies?
I honestly think it's Hubie Halloween. It just came out. It has Adam Sandler. It has Karen Brar, I think his name is. It has Shaquille O'Neal. It has a bunch of really big people. And I think that should start a new tradition, sort of like how every year you should watch the Charlie Brown Halloween movies and stuff.
Do you think that Hubie should be on the same level as the Charlie Brown Halloween and the original John Carpenter Halloween?
Yeah.
That blows my mind. Is there anybody willing to disagree with Nick? Because I am disagreeing with Nick. Anybody at all?
I feel like Charles Schultz is untouchable in some ways. And that's one of the ways he is untouchable. You can't compare a modern day movie to something like that. That's timeless. It's something that will be around forever. Whereas movies more modern, people can come and go and they can forget about it and they can come back, but people can always remember a Peanuts movie or something like that. Or something from Charles Schultz. He's one of those people you never forget.
Good point. Good points. Izzy, do you want to weigh in on that? I saw you unmuted for a minute. Do you have anything to say about Charles Schultz or Nicholas and his absurd idea that Hubie Halloween is great?
I don't agree with that. I don't think it's that good, but I'm more of an Addams Family type of person to watch on Halloween. And I'm not much of a movie person, so I'm more of I sit down with a good book.
Okay.
Halloween stories, and yeah, the Addams Family is probably my favorite, Halloween movie.
Very cool. How about some of the other kids are in this? I'm going to shift the discussion just a second. Who here has seen Hocus Pocus? Because that's considered by many to be a great Halloween movie.
I have.
What's your opinion on Hocus Pocus?
I enjoy it.
It's good.
It's good. Emma, do you have anything to say about it?
I enjoy watching it. It's just like one of those movies, but I actually have a book that's the Hocus Pocus story, and then they also have a modern day sequel that takes place in I think 2018 because that's when the book came out.
Cool.
And it's actually really interesting.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that. That's kind of cool. My wife watched Hocus Pocus for the first time the other day and said she really liked it. Is there anyone else here who wants to weigh in on that movie? Because I know that's a really
Yeah, this is a good movie. It
good
really
movie.
is.
It makes the list.
It's a little boring at first.
Is it?
I just watched it the other day, but it's pretty good. It has a good plot to it.
Mhm.
One of my favorite actors is in it. So
Who's that? Is he?
Sean Murray, I think that's his last name.
Oh, cool. Okay. Okay, Andrew, do you have the demon voice ready to speak again?
Kind of.
Go ahead.
This one's more of a zombie voice, but honestly, I'm just putting it on for special effect because on voice mod I can get background effects on it, which this one I don't know if you can hear. It is basically a zombie invasion.
Are you being held hostage right now? Because that's what it sounds like to me. Do you ever see these hostage videos where people's voices are distorted so you can't tell where they are or who they are? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, good to know. Hey, I'm going to throw another one at you. The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I think is a Halloween movie. Who thinks that's great? That's great. Tim Burton?
Okay.
Yeah, that is it more Halloween or Christmas?
I think it's
Halloween because of the aesthetic of it.
More.
Katie, what do you think?
I think it's like obviously supposed to be a Christmas movie, but I always watch it around Halloween and I think of it as a Halloween movie, although I think it's supposed to be a Christmas movie. But it just seems spooky, probably just because of the Tim Burton stuff. But
I agree. Yeah, there's a darkness to that movie, especially like the first half of it. I actually think that's close to the perfect movie. I'm never bored watching it. I like all of the songs, and it's so well written. It's very close to it. Andrew said that it has the spooky black and white aesthetic. I agree. I love the colors in that movie. And I think Jack's character is just fantastic. So I said Halloween, and it didn't catch on. I don't think anyone here liked it like me. Nick liked Be Halloween, which I'm going to say probably is good because it's getting a lot of buzz right now on Netflix. Hocus Pocus, I think we can agree, is pretty good. Everybody seems to enjoy that. The Nightmare Before Christmas, in my opinion, and a few others like Katie, is more of a Halloween movie, and I think it's great. What are we missing? Is there anything else we missed for Halloween movies that you sort of have to see in addition to the Peanuts, obviously? Or anything else?
Well, it's not a movie, but it's a TV show. It's The Twilight Zone. It's not very spooky, but I feel like it has very Halloween aesthetic to it.
Oh, it's wonderful. Some of the Twilight Zone episodes, like the monsters are due on Maple Street. If anybody was in my ELA class last year, you might remember that. That is something everybody needs to watch. And I do think it's spooky because it's real.
The Night Gallery, I believe that's what it's called.
Yeah.
It's like part 2 of that show, kind of.
Izzy, the reason that show scares me is I think it's real. It could actually happen in some cases. So that's why I think that's really scary. Okay, who has one other suggestion for the best Halloween movies? Are there any others? We seem to pick like the cartoonish ones. Is there anything else?
I have one.
Go ahead.
It's like not my favorite because I don't really watch Halloween movies, but I thought that Coraline was kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, I do too. That's like the thin, like dark-haired character, right?
Yeah, that's creepy.
It is creepy. Coraline, yeah, that I've seen it, and it is creepy. Good call on that one. Good call.
The boy in Annabelle.
Oh, Annabelle. Now that's spooky. Do you all know that Annabelle is made after an actual doll that ghost hunters went to find? Does everyone know that? That's not, I mean, it could be made up, but it's an actual made up story. And the Annabelle doll is in a museum. Let me see if I can find that and show everybody what the Annabelle doll looks like in the museum. I'm going to pull it up right now on my screen, and I'm going to show it to the people who watch this. Tell me what you think about this. I'm going to present it. I got to get it right, unlike class where I think I'm presenting and I'm not. Okay, here we go. Sharing my screen. I've done that quite a few times. I've done a lesson and the people at home aren't even able to see it. All right, here we go. Annabelle, take a look at this picture. This is from the movie on the right-hand side. And the one on the left is the actual Annabelle doll. And it is creepy. I'm not sure I even want to talk more about that because, again, it could be real. When it comes to like demons and possession, I am a wimp. When it comes to the sound that Andrew's microphone was making, I am a wimp. Izzy, what do you want to say?
For a second, I think it was Izzy who said something about Momo. Yeah, and I was like, wait, are you talking about like Avatar: The Last Airbender? And I was like, oh my gosh, Momo the lemur is so cute from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was like, oh wait, that's actually like a scary movie. Never mind.
Oh yeah,
I wish it was Momo from Avatar. I wish it was.
Who can talk about Momo? Tell me about Momo. That's like that.
Okay.
Host, right?
It was like
Who
this
had
creepy
long
piece of
black
art or something.
hair. She was white as a ghost.
It's made up, isn't it?
She would show up like on social media and say that she's like gonna come get you and stuff like that. Like she's gonna show up at your door, make sure your doors are locked and like stuff like that. It was creepy.
That is creepy. It's creepier than the class notes in Mr. Alexander's science class.
It was on the news like all these past years about it.
I try not to watch things that are going to cause me to lose sleep. And that is one of the things that will cause me to lose sleep because Momo has this distorted looking face. Yee. Kids, let's shift gears. I want to talk about Halloween candy because if we talk more about Momo, I'm going to lose sleep tonight. I think Reese's peanut butter cups are the greatest Halloween candy ever made. And I know that I'm right, but does anybody have a different opinion to me?
I do.
I mean, my favorite candy is all like any of the M&M kinds.
Okay, I agree. I like the peanut butter ones best, but go ahead. Catherine, you were shaking your head no. What's the best Halloween candy?
I really like Milky Ways and Milk Duds.
Milk Duds? I thought only
Yeah.
old people liked Milk Duds.
No, they're so good.
You're going old school on me. That's cool. Very cool. Sophia M., why don't you weigh in on Halloween candy? What's your favorite?
Mr. Darmeyer, do you like the shaped Reese cups or the regular Reese cups better?
I like anything that's called Reese cup. Go ahead, Sophia M. What do you think?
What about the Reese's Pieces?
I think I agree with you on the Reese's peanut butter cups.
Classic, right? And how do you eat yours? You know, that's like their marketing campaign. Do you eat it in 2 bites? Do you bite around the edges and then do the middle? What's your call on that?
It depends, really. Like, it depends on the shape, too. So,
have you ever put them in the freezer and not frozen them, but gotten them like pretty cold?
Yeah.
That is one way to take it to the next level. I love it. Andrew, what's your opinion on the candy?
As long as it's full of sugar, I'm happy.
Okay, as long as it's full of sugar, which leads me to like one of the worst candies. You ever see those like pixie sticks? What's the point?
Yes, I love them. It's just pure sugar.
But the sugar is, yeah, it's definitely, it destroys you. Okay, and I'm not a big fan of the pixie sticks. Kiara typed in the chat that she likes Kit Kat, and I expected other people to say that. Kiara, did you ever see the Halloween version of the Kit Kat that is like the orange wrapper? It's a little bit different. Is that your favorite?
Yeah.
Me too. Kiara, do you know anybody like in your community who gives away the king size candy bars? Izzy, have a good rest of your day. I'm sorry about where you're headed. Does anyone here go to like the king size bars?
I have a neighbor who doesn't only give them away, but she like just sets a bowl of them out.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So that happened.
That's an honor system, right?
Yep.
So what's your thought on that? Is it okay to take more than one? Or do you not want to admit it on film?
Oh, I'm fine with saying I always take more than one. If nobody's there, then they can't stop you.
Do you stuff your pockets and go home with like 10 king-size candy bars?
No, probably. It's usually in like 2 or 3.
Okay, so your guilt it ends at 2, right?
Yeah.
Or starts at 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to change my outfit and go to the house that gave the king size a second time.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it truly is terrible. I would change my voice the way Andrew did on his microphone too, because I didn't want to be caught. But I'm being honest that I did that in Colony Oaks, right near the high school.
Chocolate you forever, Mr. Gunmeyer.
Okay, that's also going to keep me up at night. Who has another suggestion for best Halloween candies? We've sort of tended to pick the chocolate ones. Is there anybody who likes any of the weird Halloween candies, like the fake lips or the I don't even know if they do it, the candy cigarettes anymore, which might also have to be edited out of our podcast. Those candy cigarettes were really popular when I was a kid. Do they still have those?
Hey, Mr. Durmar.
Yeah.
Look in the chat, because we were talking about Kit Kats, and I take Japanese this year, and on my Japanese teacher's wall, there are a bunch of these different Kit Kats, and they're all these weird flavors. Like one is melon cheese flavored Kit Kat.
I've never heard of that. Which teacher is that? Is that Mr. Belima?
Yeah, that'd be Mr. Belima.
I'm going to check in and see that. Ashlyn, show us those candy cigarettes again. Just so everybody knows, Dr. Stennett, if you're watching this, those are not real cigarettes. Nobody here smokes cigarettes. That's the candy cigarette.
They legitimately say candy on them.
Yeah, it says candy on them. And it's okay for Ashlyn to hold them up because we're reading The Outsiders and the kids, they smoke cigarettes in the book. So we're talking about something that's curricular. Yeah, the candy cigarettes are something else. There are some terrible Halloween candies out there. Do you know anybody who gives a toothbrush? You got them at the pumpkin patch, you said. Cool. Does anyone here know somebody who gives a toothbrush away on Halloween? There was this old bag that lived near me that used to give toothbrushes away. Ugh, what a terrible Halloween treat.
I need to say something.
What's that, Emma?
If you have never eaten caramel M&Ms and said that they are like the best thing, if you've never done that, you're crazy, because caramel M&Ms are the best M&Ms ever.
That's a really bold statement. I've actually never even heard of them. Is that something that like everyone has heard of?
I think they came out like a few years ago. And they are so good.
They're in a purple package.
Oh, the purple ones. Okay, I know the packaging for sure. This might be controversial, but do you know what I think is a sign that evil exists? Candy corn. Those things are so gross.
I love candy corn.
Candy corn is the best. How dare you?
Terrible.
Candy corn's not bad, and I actually do like it, but for some reason everyone hates it. Even though it's the iconic candy for Halloween.
It's iconic and terrible. Katie, what was your thought on candy corn? I want to hear from Katie. She had her mic unmuted.
I don't have much to say, but it's like, oh, it's so disgusting. It like, I don't know how to describe it other than it tastes fake. And my dad, he really likes candy corn. And I'm kind of, he talks about it all the time. We argue about it. Like joking argue. But, it's so disgusting. It like fills me with rage.
We're on the same team on this one, Katie. I think it's some of the worst food that any human has ever created. It's horrible. Horrible.
Mr. Dermot.
Yeah?
If you tell that to Hannah won't like you anymore. Hannah has this huge bag of candy corn that she eats every day.
Hey, no one can be perfect. Nobody can be perfect. Hannah's a cool kid, but no one can be perfect. Another terrible candy is Almond Joy. You ever have those?
Yes, they're disgusting.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Horrible.
I just give all of those to my grandma.
Yeah, I think they're for old people too, which leads me to this question. Catherine, do you like Almond Joys?
I love Almond Joys.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to be on my side on that. How about Catherine Owl? Do you like Almond Joys? Because you're an old soul when it comes to candy.
No.
Good
I
for
just
you.
give them to my mom and aunt who actually do like them.
Yeah,
I don't know how, though. They're gross.
Old people love them. They also love Rolos. Do you know what Rolos are?
Rollers are good. My cousin got a bag of them for Christmas, actually, in a box.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're okay.
And another thing, Mr. Dermeyer, back
Yeah.
to the Halloween costume thing. Whenever you would like go back to like the house twice to get the big Kit Kats, were
Yeah.
you caught?
I'm not sure if I was. I don't think they ever said anything to me, but I was pretty dumb as a kid, so I'm sure it was obvious that it was me a second time.
Okay, because like, did you ever get caught? Because that'd be funny though too.
Yeah, it would be funny. Yeah, I was never like yelled at or anything. They probably just felt bad for me. Anybody who's willing to change a costume and go back to a house has some issues. So I guess I had some issues. Last candy I want to suggest, and this might be the oldest of the old, Werther's Originals. Have you ever had those?
I love Werther's.
They're really good. Like if you just like
Those
them
are heaven.
mouth, it's like just coats your like, just like is like really nice.
I have an issue with Werther's Originals. I think they should stop production. Cease and what is that saying? Cease and desist? Is that what it says? I think there's no. You do not have a word. Is that a Werther's Original, Ashlyn? That can't be. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the kind
Oh God, so gross.
for candy.
I've never had a goober, Daniel. I don't know what a goober is. Is that a new candy or an old candy? Goobers? That made Kiara say ooh, so it must be terrible.
It's an old candy, but like it's really good. It's like chocolate on a peanut. Like but it has like little bits of like caramel.
Cool. And I'm surprised that KDW doesn't like peanuts because I think peanuts are proof there's a heaven. Are they those peanut caramel and chocolate ones? I think they are, Emma. I think that's what they are, or at least that's what I remember them as.
This might be a little bit controversial.
Yeah.
But I think Jolly Ranchers taste like soap.
I think they're only okay. I don't love
Jolly
them.
Ranchers.
Yeah, I don't love them.
Like whenever I get them, like put them on my mouth.
Blue
It's
and
like,
red one.
disgusting.
How many of you eat fruit roll-ups? Do you eat those still? Are they a thing?
Fruit roll-ups are good. I just don't eat them as much.
Emma, I have a
they're
horror story with fruit roll-ups. When I was a teenager, I remember I had a loose tooth, and I was eating a fruit roll-up, and it gets like kind of gummy in your mouth, and I bit at a weird angle, and the fruit roll-up yanked my tooth out too soon. It was only slightly loose, so it was bad. It was one that like bled a lot, and I have never been able to eat like fruit roll-ups or gummy snacks or anything like that since I lost my tooth when I was a teenager. It was terrible. Terrible. Let's change our topic to trick-or-treating, okay? Because I don't trick-or-treat anymore. I now go with my niece and my nephews if I go. My wife and I, we do pass out candy here at the house. Are you all going trick-or-treating? Is it
Yes.
Is it still a thing in middle school? It is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was
And
high
I might be
schoolers going here.
Why would you pass up free candy as a middle schooler?
I agree.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Free candy is great. And to be honest, you can technically still trick-or-treat as an adult.
Is there anybody who's not dressing up and going trick-or-treating?
I am, but I do have something to say.
Go
You
ahead.
can only take free candy from someone when they're in a white van near a cemetery.
We are not going to be taking free candy from people in white vans near cemeteries. No way. Rebecca C., I haven't talked to you. Welcome. Hey, Rebecca, are you going trick-or-treating? And if you are, will you tell us what you're going to be going as? Do you have your costume picked?
I'm not gonna go because my mom doesn't want me to risk getting the virus.
We're going to talk about that next, about how we can stay safe if we go, because I do know it's a danger.
To be honest, all you gotta do to stay safe is just put on a mask with your Halloween costume because, if you have a mask on, then...
You're masking your voice right now. Rebecca, do you think there's any safe way to go?
There is, but I would just be reluctant because my dad is high risk for the virus.
Yeah, I commend you for doing that. In fact, I'm going to bring in a piece of candy for you. We'll wipe it off, and you can have it in school. Is there anybody else who's not going because of the pandemic?
Going and has a mask on it, like it's part of it.
Oh, so you're telling me that they have costumes with masks on it?
No, like I'm being a glow in the dark skeleton, and like there's an
Oh.
actual mask that comes,
I see.
and there's gloves that go with it as well.
Okay. I think that there's ways to do it safely, but I understand anybody who's not doing it. And I saw Sophia and Catherine L. Are you both not going just out of caution? Cool. Okay, I support that. I know that Emma was into decorating the masks. Emma, your story about mask decorating will be on the front page of our newspaper. It's pretty good. What did you decorate your mask as, Emma?
I have it, I did a skeleton mouth and a nose, and then I did a little outline for, like, the chin part, because skeletons are, like, kind of contoured, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And then I just added some color, and I traced it around and it's just colorful.
That's one way to, like, make a positive out of this, right? If you're going, you might as well get into it, which is kind of cool. When I was a kid, like younger than you, I remember that we could buy our Halloween costumes in a box. Have you ever heard of these? I'm going to show you what I mean. You'd get like a cape with it, but you'd get your like this really uncomfortable plastic mask. And I remember going and picking this before every Halloween. Let me show you what they looked like, because they were kind of cool when I was a little kid. And I sort of wish they came back. You know how sometimes like old things come back? This was what like the old kids' Halloween costumes looked like. And they were all the same cost, but you would buy a box of something you liked. Like here's the Freddy Krueger, and you'd get his mask and you'd get a cape. This one here looks like Batman. You can see Spider-Man. I don't think they really sell these anymore, but they were really cool when I was a kid, which leads me to this one, the clown. I actually think the clown is the creepiest Halloween costume. Does anyone else agree with me that clowns are just so creepy?
Remember, like 4 years ago or something, like people are getting like chased by clowns.
Yeah, those clowns.
Oh,
were
yeah.
Yeah. Who were they?
Yeah, when I was home from the pumpkin patch, I saw a clown on a motorcycle.
Wait, you mean just recently?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I think.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, kids, there was a clown in Shaler a few years ago that was spotted on Mount Royal Boulevard. He might be the driver of the white van that Nick said is going to be parked by the cemetery. That has to be a clown who drives that vehicle. Daniel, what do you want to say on that?
I want to say that I didn't have anything to say. I accidentally turned my microphone on.
That's okay. No big deal. Clowns, they really freak me out, which is one reason why I didn't mention the movie It. Have you all seen It and the sequel, It 2? Yeah, it's a little bit too scary for me, to be honest with you, because the clown in that movie, I think he like attacks kids and stuff, and it gives me like what they call the heebie-jeebies. I'm just not a big fan of clowns. Say that again?
It gives me nightmares.
Yeah, me too. Daniel, I did read the novel because it's a Stephen King book, and it's probably one of his most popular novels. I remember reading it when I was a kid. It's really long. And the movie, there was an original one that really scared me too, but the new one, nah, I haven't really gotten into that. Plus, I don't know if you're like me, but I've tried to watch like positive things because the world can be so crazy and the pandemic has been negative, and I'm enjoying like The Nightmare Before Christmas more than I am the scariest movies this year, which is, I think, helping my mood. I see that people are talking about cosplay. Is there anybody in here who can explain to me? I know it's like getting dressed up, but can someone tell me why? Like, what is going on with this cosplay?
Cosplay or...
You usually cosplay because you want to dress up as a character from some type of like fictional or realistic like movie or TV show or book.
Yeah.
Because you just really like it and are really into it. It's
okay.
Kind of like a fan.
Like these like events that you would go to like for like cosplay would be like a Comic-Con or
Uh-huh.
like conventions. Like there's special conventions for those things, which would be like whenever you would like dress up and do that, but people also do it during Halloween and stuff.
So Halloween, I understand completely. Daniel, what's your thought on cosplay? Because I know you had something to say on it. Daniel T.
So basically what cosplay is sometimes known as costume play, and it's usually when you are dressing up as something from a fictional, usually sci-fi fiction, like movie or show, usually um, involving anime, and usually it's usually at a Comic Con or an anime convention.
On a scale of cool to weird, where does cosplay fall? Like right in the middle?
And for my opinion, I think it's totally weird.
Okay, so you're far on the end of weirdness.
Depends on who you're asking. Like, if you're asking a community who only cosplays or a bunch of fans of the community that the person is cosplaying for, they might say, yeah, it's normal. But
Okay.
if you're asking people who have never seen
Yeah.
or heard of cosplay before, they'll be like, that's weird.
I think it would be weird to explain it to like our grandparents. I don't think they'd get it. Katie W., what's your take on cosplay? Cool to weird or right in the middle?
I mean, it depends on your perspective. A lot of people would find it really strange, but personally, I think it's really cool and really admirable. I think that's weird. But the effort that some people put into their cosplays is just amazing, and it's fun to see people expressing themselves and getting to interact with one another through that.
Yeah, you have a big heart, Katie, and I admire that about you. I think that you accept people for who they are, and I think we should all try to be like that, right? As a teacher, I try to be like that. I do think that it's a form of art, right? If you put a ton of effort into what you're wearing, I mean, some of these things I've seen on like Twitter or online, if you just Google some of these cosplay costumes, they look as good as the movies that these characters are in. Some of the superheroes or the comic book characters, it's amazing what people are able to create. I do think, like anything else, if anything can get too unhealthy, right? If you have too many candy corn pieces, it can be unhealthy. So cosplay has a tipping point. And Emma says some cosplays are better than the movies. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Emma. I think some of them are just amazing. Now there is one, I think, like offshoot of cosplay that really is weird to me, and maybe I'm wrong. Do you all know what the furries are? Those people who dress like animals?
I know what those are, and they're kind of different from cosplay.
Are they?
So they don't really cosplay. They have personas and fursuits. And personas, a furry is a fan of anthropomorphic animals, and so they have personas, and they're anthropomorphized animals that can represent who they are or what they think of themselves. And then there are fursuits, which they can be custom made. Usually they are, but you can get them just like pre-made, and they're just costumes, and you dress up as animals. And it's a little different from cosplay because you're not really dressing up as a character from a show or a book, but it is comparable to that.
Yeah, I see it as sort of an offshoot. And I have a question for you, Katie W. How do you know that? That was like reading off a cue card. You're really knowledgeable on this. How'd you learn that?
A lot of my friends are furries.
Are they really? Okay, so like young kids do that too?
Yep.
Cool. Do you know that Pittsburgh is one of the big stops for the convention each year when there isn't a pandemic? Yeah.
They have Anthrocon here downtown. It happens every summer.
Yeah. I guess like anything else, and this is what Emma was just saying, if it gets too far, it could get weird. But as long as people aren't hurting anybody, I really don't care. I want people to be happy.
Cosplay and furries, they aren't that bad, but one thing that I find that's kind of weird is anime. I'm not, I don't really like anime.
What is it? Is that the cartoonish movie? Is that what anime is?
Anime is basically like animation, but like done in Japan.
Okay.
Because it's like basically a Japan term.
Okay.
So like if it's anime, it has to be like a cartoon or animation from Japan.
Got it.
So that's basically what anime kind of is. Because we were talking about in Japanese class the other day, actually, or animation. Because I have the same Mr. Blino as my teacher for both.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great teacher, by the way. I really enjoy talking to him. Okay, Andrew, go ahead. Give us your normal voice so I can hear you.
A lot of animes are, yes, made in Japan, but they're also usually made for both English speakers and Japanese speakers, which coins the term sub and dub, in which dub means that you can listen to it in English, and sub means that you can listen to it in Japanese, but you can also get English subtitles.
Interesting.
And a lot of animes come from Japanese books, Japanese comic books called mangas.
Now, I've heard about mangas as well. Is a manga the book that you read from the back to the front? Is that what a manga is?
Basically, you open the book this way instead of this way, and then you have to read it this way instead of this way.
That would really throw me off. That would be like driving in a car in Europe that has the steering wheel on the other side of the car, right? It's like we're used to those things. She'll say the anime is weird. Like, watch Riverdale. I think Riverdale's okay. It's not my first choice. Emma says anime is just Japanese animated shows and movies. It's a different cultures type of entertainment. I was going to say that, culturally we have differences, right? I think that people might look at some of our forms of entertainment and think it's weird. For example, during the initial shutdown, I watched a show called Floor is Lava. You ever watch that show?
Yes.
What in the world are we doing? It's insane. We'll spend hours watching The Bachelorette. So it's like we have our own things that could be scrutinized for sure. I don't know what a Neko girl is. Is that something that's okay to talk about in this? I don't know what that is.
Isn't Nico cat in Japanese? So is it like cat girl? I think
it's pronounced Neko.
Okay, cool.
But yes, Neko does mean cat in Japanese, and it would mean cat girl. It's kind of what I asked earlier. What's the difference? Does anyone know the difference between a furry and a Neko girl?
I can answer that. So a Neko girl, I'm not completely sure what they are, but aren't they just like half cat and half human?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so
they usually have cat ears. Sometimes they could have cat-like faces and maybe even cat-like hands. But if they don't have those, they always have a cat tail and cat ears.
Yeah, so that couldn't be compared to a furry because humans are furries. A furry isn't the animal. That would be more comparable to just a fursona or just a character. So a Neko girl wouldn't be a furry because they are the anthropomorphized animal, or like kind of the opposite of that. They're a human who has been, I don't know the word, but turned more into an animal. So it's different from a furry because people are furries, not the characters.
Interesting. I'm half human and half bacon because I just can't stop eating it, obviously. So I don't know what the name for that would be, but I'm proud of it. So before we wrap up our first podcast, which I think was pretty good, I want to hear what animal, if you had to be one, who you'd want to be. Tell me which one, and then sign out of here, and I'm going to stop the video and send it for our editing. Okay, so which animal would you be? I'm going to start with Andrew. You give us the animal, then you go. Non-answer?
A cat, because I can just be lazy all day.
Okay, good answer. I'll see you later, buddy. Sign out of here. Ashlyn, what's your animal of choice?
A llama, because I love them. They're my favorite animal.
We have a lot of llama things at the house that I might be bringing in to get rid of because my wife loves them too. They're all yours.
Okay.
Don't tell her I told you that. Okay, next up, Bella, which animal would you want to be?
I would probably choose a domestic house cat because my cat just sleeps and eats all day, which is just like really nice. So yeah.
Thanks for playing today. Good job.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Daniel, which animal would you want to be? He tapped out. I'm going to pick it for him. He's going to be let me think. I'm going to make him a bird because he flew. Emma, tell me, which animal would you want to be?
Honestly, I have no idea, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be some sort of tropical bird, either a flamingo or a parrot.
Pretty good answer. Wonderful. Thank you. Katie W., which animal would you want to be?
This is a question I can answer really easily. I would totally be a frog. I'm so obsessed with them, and like my grandma has them, and it's funny to see them. Like they're just chilling on the rocks and by the water, and I just wish I could be that. It seems so cool. They just have no responsibility. It seems awesome.
It's a great answer. Thank you. Catherine L., which animal are you choosing?
I would be a bear because
Really?
they're obviously like really tough and they
Yeah.
survive, and then they just get to sleep all winter.
Yeah,
That
great
would be
answer.
the best life ever.
Great answer. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, Kiara, tell us about your animal of choice.
A cat, I guess.
Do you own any cats?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what the lifestyle's like.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks, kid. I appreciate you being here. Nicholas M. Hi, Nicholas M. Which animal are you choosing?
I would be a meerkat because 1, they got removed from the zoo, and 2, because didn't they like eat a kid or something?
Oh man, you're really bringing up all the topics. Yeah, there was this terrible thing where a kid fell into the cage at the Pittsburgh Zoo, and a tragedy occurred there. But the thing about that particular animal, I think that I feel so bad about what happened, right? But animals aren't meant to be in zoos. I know that people in zoos take care of animals, and there are certainly like great people working there. So I'm not knocking zookeepers, but animals are from the wild. So when we bring them in and try to put them into a zoo, things could happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely.
Nick, good job. I'm going to be mailing this to you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rebecca and Sophia, you can both unmute and then tell me, and then we'll all leave together.
I would be a dolphin.
Probably some sort of bird.
Okay, a dolphin and a bird. Good answers. I don't know what I'd be. Probably a dog. I love dogs. Kids, I hope you had fun. We're going to do it again on Wednesday, okay? Website will be up and running. I'm signing off. Peace.